Hi everybody, my name's Valenzia and welcome to my channel. My band Breaking 12 can perform as a duo, a trio, a quartet, and sometimes even a large 5-piece live band. But when we do operate in a smaller group, we sometimes will use tracks to make it sound like a live performance. However, I am very much opposed to sounding very karaoke or very studio-like in a live setting. So there are certain techniques that I use and certain equipment that I use to get kind of a live, authentic sound, even as a duo. So this video is going to be a brief overview of all the techniques that I use. If you please leave a question or a comment in the comment section below, I will make sure that when I do my detailed video, I make sure that I'll answer your question and show you specifics on how I create a live sound in a performance track. Thank you. Enjoy the video. A quick note before I get started. From here on, I'm going to only use the microphone with the iPhone. I'm not going to use any other professional device. So you're going to hear it straight and raw, exactly what it would sound like through a phone. I think that makes sense. Okay, the first step that I use, first of all, with making tracks sound live is that I record everything myself in Logic Pro. Occasionally, I will use a specific track, like a stem from an original track, but typically not. Typically, I like to make my own tracks. I'll learn the parts and then record them into Logic Pro. One of the things I also do when I'm playing these tracks, I purposely do not try to play them exactly like the studio. I try to play them as if I'm in front of a live crowd. How would I play it? What would I do differently? How would I play the guitar riff? How would I do this? There are certain things that I simplify because in front of a live audience, you want to be a little bit more energetic with your performance. And maybe you don't have to be as flashy with every little lick that you can play on a guitar. So that's what I've done here is I've simplified things. I've recorded my own drum tracks via MIDI. I use Steven Slate software, so it sounds authentic drums. They sound fantastic. And yes, I recorded the guitar parts for the most part. I think I recorded all of these actually. Yes, I did. And then the keyboard parts, I did them as well, and the bass as well. I use a lot of MIDI bass because I could just work with it a little bit easier and it just sounds more clean and more authentic than if I try to play bass. This works better for me. So that's where it starts, recording and making things sound live from how you do it. So that means putting in crescendos where crescendos didn't maybe exist in the studio recording and so forth, and putting in like little breaks and stop times and all those kind of things. That's where it starts. Okay, the second step is obviously the playback, and let's get into that because that's a two-part process. So I discovered this new app that's called Stage Tracks 3. See, it's up here, a little out of focus. There we go. Stage Tracks 3. Stage Tracks 3 allows you to do a lot of cool stuff, and I'm not going to give you a long tutorial about it, but I'll give you a brief little overview. Basically, you get to record like your parts. Like for what I did is I record all my drums and I mix them down and I compress them and make them sound good by themselves. Then I do that with the bass. Then I do that with guitar. Then I did that with keys. And then I put silence here. Why did I put silence? Oh, because I didn't want any background vocals. That's my backing vocal track. I didn't want to put those in there. I wanted to perform all those live. So I didn't bother to record any backing vocals. There's the click track, just in case you need it. And then there's a piano cue track that I could put into this software, and it would play that back really, really well. I don't use that piano cue track very often. It's only if I need to rehearse or if I'm going to be playing on a different instrument live. If I'm going to play drums, I'm going to want that piano cue track in here, and then I would play along with it. Now for this, and here is the vocal track that Aileen from Breaking 12, my writing partner, she recorded in here. And again, our purpose was not to recreate it spec by spec, lick by lick, line by line. We wanted to kind of give it our own flavor. That's how we roll. So in Stage Tracks 3, I was able to import all of those tracks. I exported them from Logic Pro, and then I put them into this software, and now I have that track. As you can see, I have Separate Ways called up. It's a Journey song. I'm probably gonna get tagged for the copyright here if I start playing it, but who cares? I'm gonna live on the edge here. All right, then once you got it into here, what I'm doing is I'm using a specific output to my Mackie output, my Mackie board, which is the DLS32 or the DL32S, sorry. And what it has is it has several outputs. There's actually 10 outputs if you include the 2 main outputs. But notice I'm not even plugged into the mains right now. I would for specific gigs if it was a bigger gig, but if it's a small club, I'm gonna do something very, very unique and very different. It's kind of messy cabling here, but each one of these represents one of those tracks. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outputs right here. This is my digital piano plugged directly in, and these are mic cables that I don't need. Everything else is USB directly into the board. Okay, now out of that board, here's one of my tracks. I used one track on the drums. I'm gonna play a sample for you in just a few seconds. Then I have a speaker over here that's gonna have the keyboard track. I have it set up so it's like full range because keyboards definitely need that full range to get that same sound out. Here is my digital piano that I've been working with. By the way, this is a Roland GP6. It's absolutely fantastic. It's fabulous. It's wonderful. I'll tell you more about that later. I'm going to do a video about that as well. And the sound quality is outstanding, and I love the speaker system. Then behind me, closest to me, I have the vocal cue track and my vocal mic. So if I'm singing backgrounds to this live or if I'm doing anything like that, they both will come through that vocal box. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're doing a live gig and it's a bigger venue, you can't do that. You need the mains. So yes, that's what I would do in a bigger venue. This speaker I have right now as guitar. So I have all the electric guitar, or even some songs I have acoustic guitar. They come through this particular speaker. And by the way, the Bose speaker system is just amazing. It's really, really incredible. It sounds good. It's a little bit noisy. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to move the guitar out of the way. But it's they're a little bit noisy, but they really, really still sound great. And you don't notice the noise later on. Now I'm using an EV 12-inch speaker for the bass over here. Okay, so I have the EV speaker over here for the drums. That's a 12-inch, and this is also the 12-inch. That's its pairing, and that's what I'm using for the bass. Since it's omnidirectional, I'm basically just facing it straight out. The bass sound is just going to fill the room, so to speak. And so I'm going to play you a little excerpt of Separate Ways so you can kind of hear each one of these instruments being played through its particular track and particular channel. So here, all I have to do is hit play. And you can hear a few instruments over here. You can hear the guitar. Then over here, I've got my drum speaker. And then the keyboard speaker. And we'll get the vocal speaker in a few seconds. I kept the bass part simple. Okay, so now I've got the vocals are going to come out of that speaker, and if I were singing, I would be doing that as well.
Here we stand, worlds apart, all broken.
So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up. How would this sound in a club? A small venue. I'm not thinking large venue, I'm thinking small venue.
Losing ground, I'm reaching for you. Feeling that it's gone can change your mind. Here we can go on, survive the tide of you.
All right, so you probably noticed that when I moved the video back and forth, you heard the different instruments. So that gives it a lot of separation and makes it sound like a live band because that's how it would really be on the stage. Again, this works in a small environment, maybe a medium sized at best, but unless you have really, really powerful speakers for each of your instruments, you're really going to need those mains to really carry in a larger venue. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. My last little tip and trick is to actually play a live instrument along with the tracks. I know that sounds like common sense, but what I did when I recorded these tracks, I kind of left openings here and there for something like if I wanted to play the piano along with Separate Ways. I left a little bit that I can add to it. And then the same thing is true for other songs I may want to play guitar on. When you add that element to these tracks, I think it really does help round everything out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of Separate Ways on the piano for you. Hopefully I'll play the right notes and it'll sound like a live performance. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you enjoyed it and you want to learn more about it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That way you can be notified when I do the full-length video on specific details. As a matter of fact, if you want specific details, leave me a question and I'll make sure to either answer it directly or I'll put it in the video. So thank you again for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Take care.